Albert Menendez is the worst person to ever exist on YouTube. This person is completely mentally unstable to the point of being dangerous to himself or anyone else that happens to cross his path. He can literally be heard screaming, yelling, and threatening innocent bystanders who walk or drive past him as Albert rants and raves like a psychotic lunatic stalking the streets of Pembroke Pines, Florida. For years, Albert Menendez, also known as Hobo Albo, Hollywood Albo, and the AlboArmy, has openly stalked and harassed numerous other content creators on a variety of platforms online. He has invaded the live streams and chats of those that he seeks to attack with a multitude of alternate and fake accounts so as to avoid personal responsibility for his bizarre behavior. Albert is a twisted, hateful, and judgmental person. He actually thinks that he is in a position to both evaluate and judge everyone else, but is so sensitive that any mention of his name will trigger explosive anger and self-proclaimed victimhood. He pretends to be friendly with people, gets them to lower their guard, and then uses that trust to manipulate, deceive, and destroy. This unhinged lunatic is a confirmed internet predator in so many ways. In fact, it's worse than that. If you look into Albert Menendez's past, you will discover a lengthy criminal record. He has been arrested for a variety of offenses that just get worse and worse the deeper you go. Everything from drug charges to sex offenses paint a picture of a truly disgusting and dangerous sociopath with contempt for the law. For his fellow man and for anyone who simply does not want to see Albert's exposed private parts in public. Look it up for yourself. Albert is a liar who will say anything, no matter how ridiculous, if it gets him attention. He has a very long history of trying to slander, provoke, and insult just about anyone that creates content that he watches. For the great crime of making videos about video games or discussing entertainment media, Albert Menendez has granted himself the authority to take you down by any means necessary. He will make up lies, spread false narratives, pretend to be offended, and present himself as though he is merely a concerned citizen. If that doesn't force the content creator to bend to Albert's demands, then he will begin with personal attacks aimed at a person's physical appearance, living conditions, family circumstances, faith, or profession. He will even make comments about children and invent implications that could get someone fired from a job or are aimed at driving a wedge between people. There is no limit to the malignant and hateful things that Albert will do, and for no other reason than to gain attention for himself. Albert is obsessed with the idea of becoming famous on the internet. He believes that he is achieving this goal with every person he stalks and harasses. As far as he is concerned, there is no difference between being an edgelord internet comedian and being a self-serving attention beggar who stalks and verbally assaults his neighbors. The more he gets noticed, the better, by any means necessary. His ego is all that matters. Every other person is simply a means to an end. Albert believes that he is better than all of us and entitled to judge all of us while never having to ever answer for the childlike behavior that he chooses to embrace. He is a manipulative, hateful, arrogant, selfish, sensitive snowflake. He thinks the world owes him fame. He thinks he deserves to be heard and respected, all while screaming and disrespecting everyone else. Zero logic, zero common sense, zero value as a person. On top of all this, he chooses to live off public services as a homeless drug addict. Instead of spending his money on his obligations or on providing himself with normal accommodations, he abuses the system for his own gain and hangs on like a parasite to the taxpayers who pick up his slack so that he can indulge in criminal behavior. He is truly a public nuisance. Albert is basically a plague upon his community and on the online community as well. All of that is by choice. He would rather take from others than do for himself. Albert is severely mentally unstable. Watch his videos and you will see this on your own. He will cross-dress in costumes with wigs and women's makeup, all while trying to insult or smear other people. This is all he does. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't create any real content. He doesn't provide any form of real entertainment. He simply repeats the same tired insults over and over and over. Insults he probably heard someone else say, or he tries to burn the camera on his phone with a cigarette for some reason. Probably because someone once held him down and threatened to burn his eyes the same way, and he thinks this is somehow intimidating to people on YouTube. Who knows? It's very, very strange. He is hiding behind the fake shield of being an internet comedian, but real comedians have actual jokes and think up real material. The only joke here is Albert Menendez himself, but this one is not funny at all. It's just extremely weird, sad, and pathetic. There is no real hope for Albert. He seems to really enjoy being a self-centered and hate-filled maniac. Nothing else has ever given him any notoriety or made him feel as special, and nothing ever will. In the end, this will be his story. He won't be remembered for helping anyone, saving any lives, achieving anything, or making any form of positive difference, but a handful of annoyed neighbors and content creators might at least vaguely recall just what an arrogant pest he chose to be and how the deceptive life choices of a homeless, drug-addicted psychopath disrupted a community that should never have had to deal with his harassment. Albert is the worst person on the internet.